Challengers weigh-ins. Today's event is presented to you by Rockstar Energy Drink, who reminds you to party like a rock star. Today's event is also brought to you by GoDaddy.com. GoDaddy.com, the undisputed champion of domain names. Let's go ahead and bring up Scott Coker, Sean Shelby and company, and get things started off. In the lightweight division with Milton Vieira versus Sterling Ford. Just a reminder, doors tomorrow night, 5 p.m., first fight 6 p.m. Tickets are still available. Milton Vieira to the scale. 155 for Milton Vieira. Sterling Ford supporting his favorite superhero to the scale. 156 for Sterling Ford. And that's a great lightweight fight, Milton Vieira versus Sterling Ford. Moving next to the welterweight division, Chad Lenhardt versus Mike Bronzoulis. First up to the scale, Chad Lenhardt. Chad Lenhardt to the scale. 171 for Lenhardt. $169 for Bronzoulis. 169. That's going to be a great welterweight fight. Chad Lenhardt versus Mike Bronzoulis. Keeping things in the 170-pound division, Lucas Les versus Nashawn Burrell. First up to the scale, Lucas Les. $169 for Les, 169. All right, ladies, let's step aside. Nashawn Burrell to the scale, 171 pounds is the mark. $172 for Burrell, 172. Les versus Burrell, welterweight fight. That's going to be a good one, folks. Next up in the light heavyweight division, Keith Berry against John Vellante. First to the scale, Keith Berry. Berry comes in at 204. Keith Berry, 204. $205 for Vellante. That's a great showdown at 205. Berry versus Vellante. Next up, we move to the main card, which will air on Showtime. A light heavyweight bout kicks it off with Derek Caveman Mayman versus Roy Jones. $205 Caveman strong for Derek Mayman. Jones to the scale. 204 for Roy Jones, 204. First fight on Showtime, folks. That's Mayman versus Jones. Moving on to the women's featherweight division, Sarah D'Alelio versus Rowdy Ronda Rousey. $146 for D'Alelio, 146. scale. 146. You know that's going to be a scrap. Sarah D'Amelio versus Rowdy, Ronda Rousey. Next up, in the lightweight division, Eric Wisely takes on Pat Bam Bam Healy. Wisely steps to the scale. 156 for Wisely, 156. Next up, Bam Bam Healy. 155 for Bam Bam. That's a great fight in the lightweight division. Wisely versus Healy. We move to the middleweight division and Nate James versus Danilo Villafort. 185 for James, 185. In to go to the scales. 186 for Villafort, 186. Your co-main event of the evening, James versus Villafort. And we move to our lightweight main event, Joe Duarte versus George Gurgel. Starting things off, Joe Duarte. Duarte to the scale. 155, 155. 154 for a true veteran of the sport, George Gurgel. 154. That's your main event on Showtime, folks. Gurgel versus Duarte. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, tickets still available at the Pearl de Palms box office. First fight, 6 o'clock, doors at 5. We'll see you tomorrow night for Strikeforce Challengers.